giant stalker, dragon stalker, crypt stalker, demon stalker, rift stalker, grown stalker, crypt stalker, scourge stalker, wind runner. I'm a pony, lead skill hunter, a death dealer, a life stealer. That's just the cost of being awesome sauce.
Welcome to episode 132 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm not Euripides, I'm not Frostime, but we do have a Darkbrew.
And I am Darkbrew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Alexander from the Hunting Party Podcast and the Torlore Podcast.
And what exactly is the Torlore Podcast? Where can we find the Torlore Podcast? I have to admit, I don't know where to go to find it, and I would probably listen to it or read it or whatever it is if I could, if I knew where it was.
Well, we're currently undergoing a spasm of call to auction, which is about it's at torlore.com, Torlore, and it's on iTunes. I'm not sure what else it's on, and it's also on the Instance Tour edition at the end of the show.
Oh, very good.
Basically what it is just 60 seconds, or, 2 minutes or less of a little bit of Star Wars lore. We talk about history, or we talk about Jedi or famous people, things like that, from the Torlore era or before.
Well, sounds good. I'll have to go. So if you play the Old Republic, if you're one of like the 3 people that still play the Old Republic, you can go in there and check out the Torlore Podcast, because I'm sure it'll have something interesting for you. But you talk about a game that seems to be spiraling in the wrong direction. I mean, they just had massive layoffs and all sorts of other stuff. And it's interesting because I still play the game. I still enjoy that game. But when you compare it to World of Warcraft, which hasn't released any new content since about the same time that game was released, and they seem to be holding steady with their subscriptions, and the other one seems to be losing subscriptions. I always find that interesting in the fact that they are releasing new content and have new content coming out in another month here or so. But anyway, this is not the Torlore Podcast or the SWTOR Podcast. It's the Hunting Party Podcast, and we do have our chat room here today. And if you are not registered in the chat room but would like to send Alexander questions, just go to the chat room and type, "Where is everyone today?" And maybe we'll try and answer that question. I know Frostime indicated that he was not here today because he's stuck on a farm somewhere. I have no idea what that means and why he's on a farm. And Euripides is just completely 100% AWOL. So I have no idea where I have not heard from him. But so we're going to carry on here today. And as always, our lovely moderator, Alexander, is here, and she will rank your questions based on, I guess, just trying to figure out, tell us where is everyone today. And what do we normally do here? Oh, we read the names. Why don't you read the names today? Someone in the chat room requested that you read the names today. So maybe they'll all get pronounced right for us for once. I know Xiami will be pronounced correctly. She'll be happy.
Well, I have problems with Ustream because it won't show me all the people very much. So I apologize in advance. Today we have UstreamBot, Vageless, Abelion314, Aspects, Bella Sky, BM Jagger, Xiami, Foxtrap05, Yetha, Indawates, Leilowin, love you Leilowin, Mr. Range Killer, Premox, Scruffy, and Tagurit1.
Yep, as well as several other guests
and
joining us. Yes, exactly.
And very special guest, Michele Morrow.
Hi.
Here. Hey, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good.
I'm not having a Bloody Mary, though, so I'm good.
Not this time?
Not this time.
I'm having
Oh, there's still time.
I might need to have another drink. I'm glad you could join us today. We appreciate it. I understand we woke you up for this. I'm so jealous because I don't know where you are, but it can't be that early there.
Well, I was in bed. It was awesome, though. No, I'm in California, so yeah. On Saturdays, if I don't have anything to do, I'm sleeping my ass in. This is the way it is.
That's awesome. I miss those days. Yeah, if it's 8:30, I've already slept in about as late as I could, and that's not by choice, generally speaking.
Right. You have a kid, right?
No, I have a wife and 3 cats, so it's the equivalent of a kid.
Equivalent, yeah. 3 cats. That's a lot. Yeah.
It's the cats especially, because my wife opens the bedroom door and they just come rumbling, and they're not there to see me. They're there to see her. But
yeah, of course.
They walk on.
They're there to see the food lady.
Yeah, they walk on me to get to her.
Hi, Warvinny. One of my guildies is in the chat.
Oh, is he one of your guildies? Because he's like here every week. That's awesome.
Yeah, where Vinny actually came to me from Hunting Party Podcast, so from the WHU. So that's how he came into our guild.
Very nice.
And
Congratulations.
How is your guild doing? I mean, we're at that kind of like we're in the doldrums of the Cataclysm expansion here. Even our guild is sort of struggling to get people interested in doing stuff, but we carry on. I mean, are you guys still raiding, progressing? What have you guys been up to?
That's so true. We are in that that area. It's that lull. So we've got like 2 10-mans, and our second 10-man is still really plugging away. They're doing really well. And our first 10-man, I personally, my life has picked up quite a bit in like real life stuff, responsibilities. So I've been unable to play as much as everybody else. And I think my absence kind of can hurt us at times. But I have, our officers that set up. I think we're going to do rated battlegrounds tomorrow, but I was out of town for Memorial Day weekend, and this coming week is E3, so I'm going to that. I'm super stoked. So I'm going to be missing out next week too. So I'm hoping after that, I'm going to put, big achievements together for, give away like 5,000 gold, like 25,000 gold, like 5 people will get 5,000 gold out of the guild banks so that they can show up for 25-man achievements for stuff, So I'll bait them with gold.
Always a good idea. That always tends to work. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of 210s. That's something that our guild is discussing about moving into the next expansion to Mists of Pandaria, because we do 25s right now, and it's just so hard to maintain that and get the same 25 people. So it works well for doing normal mode content, but if we want to move and do any kind of the hard mode stuff, which we have a fair number of people that want to do that because they're bored with the normal mode stuff, it's hard to get 25 people that can plow through that.
No, it's so true. 210-mans is awesome. The only problem with it is that, and we're really good about this, is I've seen it happen in the past. So one of my things is I always make sure to rotate in a lot of our. So we have a lot of our leadership in the first group, because obviously that's how we started, and we all started playing together. So we've got our 10-man is really solid, and then we have the second group that would kind of fall apart here and there, and it would have kind of some of those problems where it'd miss like a DPS or healer, and there wouldn't be someone on or whatever. And so now what we've done, and then what happened is once those 2 groups got like solid, then it would start getting clicky. So I would make sure to, it would just happen. Like, so I would always make sure to weave in other people into the 2 groups, so it never felt like these 2 groups were completely alienated from one another. But it also has to do with time difference. Like, we've got people, like I'm waking up just now. Like, we've got people who are on the East Coast, who are like, dude, I got to get up in the morning. I got work. And so it's a time difference thing. Some people are just getting off of work, when other people are raiding. Like, my boyfriend doesn't get home from work until like 7. Our time, which is like 9 servers. So it can be a little challenging, I think, with time frames. So 2 10-mans is really nice because you don't have to deal with that time frame stuff as much, especially if you're not raiding weekends.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I like that idea. The only thing I sort of worry about is that one group getting a little bit too far ahead of the other, and there being some sort of, a little bit of competitiveness and jealousy, especially if one group, excels and the other group sort of stumbles a little bit.
That's one thing like I try to really abolish in our guild too, is like, it's like our number one rule is don't be a dick. And, it's healthy competitiveness is good, to have healthy competition. But there's another thing to be like crying over gear or being jealous or being really like, bratty. I don't really put up with much of that very well. I mean, there's a reason why my title is the Honey Badger. So
there needs to be a Honey Badger pet. I like that. That's a great title.
Dude, look, listen up. It's a
hungry little bastard. It's pretty badass. It runs all over the place.
Yeah, I met the honey badger in real life the other day. He did a show here in LA, and I went and I met him, and I got a honey badger pet, that stuff. And I think I want one in game that I can tame. Don't you think there should be a tameable honey badger?
There absolutely should be a tameable honey badger. I agree. They give us porcupines, which was close. It's like they're on the right path there, but yeah, they definitely need the honey badger pet, something small and utterly ferocious and indestructible.
Dude, it would be awesome. I mean, it would just be its abilities. It just doesn't give a wait. Am I not supposed to? I didn't swear. The honey badger swore. I'm not swearing.
See, I think when you come on, the rules just go out the window. I don't know. We'll deal with it.
I didn't do it. It was the honey badger.
The honey badger did it.
He doesn't care.
But yes, there should be a honey badger pet. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God, it would be so much fun. Can you believe it'd be like just as much fun as like having the ghost crawler? You know, it'd be just awesome.
So speaking of, I guess, honey badgers and new pets, I mean, are you in the Miss Pandaria beta? Have you done much in there, or what do you think about it so far?
I am in the beta. I've been in the beta since the beginning, and I have not done a ton in there. I have not had much time to play in general, but as much as I have played, I love it. I think it's beautiful. I think that the gear is really cool as you go up, especially through like the Jade area. Like, I think they've done a really good job. I think it's really pretty. I like the questing experience. I have not done level 85 stuff. I do have my tune transferred over, but I have not done level 85 stuff. I've kind of wanted to experience the game a little bit before I just dove right into doing, what I'm doing now already and in Kata still,
Right. Well, I agree with you. What you say is about the look and feel of the place. I think they did a really nice job, especially with the starter zones. And from what I've seen about even the level 85 stuff, it's just nice to have a place that's not all torn up and on fire or glowing green. And you know what I mean? Everything just seems to be kind of a little bit more pristine. And it's just visually very pleasing because, you spend a lot of time in these worlds doing stuff. And it's just kind of nice to have that. It's like a small thing, but it's not a small thing. I mean, when the environment looks kind of nice, you kind of enjoy just being in it. I like what they've done with Myst. I like the whole Asian theme that they're doing.
Yeah, it's so pretty. It's just all of the little, now that I can sort of talk about my trip to Blizzard when I went back in December, like I was watching them, just hand draw all of like little flowers on the ground. And I mean, the amount of artistry that goes into each one of these things, now seeing it, like now playing it's really amazing to see how much work they actually put into making this game. So I appreciate it on a different level, as I feel like we all get so upset about mechanics and gameplay and loot and all these things, and we forget that there's all these people who are working really hard to make this game a beautiful experience for us to play. I mean, it's still, even if it has lost a little bit of membership, still has over 10 million members like worldwide, and that's a very substantial amount of people. They've done an incredible job.
It really is an amazing amount of people. I think they did their latest earnings release. We were just talking about that briefly at the beginning of the show, and I think they said they were holding steady at 10.2 million, which I know is it's lower than what they were at their peak, but like you said, that's still an amazing number of people that are hanging in there, especially when you think about the fact that they haven't released any new content to the live game since early December when they did 4.3 in Dragon Soul. So I mean, people are they're still hanging around. They're still, logging in occasionally, and they're still playing, but they're not up and leaving. And I think they're waiting for Miss Pandaria. And then when you look at other, we were comparing it to the Old Republic, which is a brand new game, barely 6 months old, and releasing new content, every other month it seems like, and they're losing subscriptions. They're not keeping their players.
Yeah, and a thing I'd like to say about that too, and I know everyone's like, so many people have PCs, but I have a Mac, and there's so many games out there that I would love to play that I can't play because I would have to do boot camp on my Mac, which I'm not going to do. It would just ruin my computer. I'm not going to do it. So I wish that they had, I wish that more game developers would develop games for Mac, and I would be able to play some of them. And to be honest, I feel like, they've probably, I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends who play Warcraft who have Macs that live here in like some of the bigger cities, like that have Macs. So the fact that they support those systems it's kind of awesome. And a lot of them, like Star Wars, they don't support that. They keep saying, "Oh, we'll come out with a Mac version," and I know it takes a lot of money to make that, but you know, you're 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 also forfeiting a subscriber base.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's not something I'd ever really thought about. How many people, I don't know how much of the player base is on the Mac platform, but it does seem kind of silly to alienate that group of people.
It's probably not as much. I mean, most people play on PC, and I'm gearing up to getting a gaming PC right now. But most people do play on PC. But there is a substantial amount of people who do have Mac, and a game like that. Most people play. People have Macs generally, like, will have a platform system like Xbox or PlayStation, something like that. But they don't really delve as much into PC gaming, and probably one of those reasons is because they don't make a lot of games for the Mac platform. There's really not. I mean, I had beta keys because of my article on Hello Giggles. Beta keys to Terra and to Guild Wars and to Neverwinter and all these things that I couldn't play because I didn't have the right platform for it.
Interesting. So when do you think, with the Mists of Pandaria, when do you think we talk about this all the time too, we've tried to sort of predict when we think it's going to be released. Do you have any thoughts on that at all?
And are you allowed to say?
Oh, the secret information.
Oh, did they tell you when it was going to release?
No.
Of course they would. They probably didn't even know themselves back then.
No. I think they'd make me sell my soul for that. No, I don't know when they're going to release that. I mean, that would be my prediction that they would do it kind of before the holiday season because they just released Diablo, which was huge. And, that was such an enormous thing for their company to finally get that out. That was 12 years going. So that was big. I believe they had that game and scrapped it a few times before it really became what it is now. And it's really fun. But I would assume if I was thinking in a marketing standpoint, if I were a business, I would launch it closer to the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're on a track, or they wanted to get this out earlier than they did the other expansions. I agree that, but the holidays seem to be a logical time for them to do it. But on the other hand, they already have sort of a built-in audience. I mean, the expansions are generally for the people that are already playing the game, and so I think these people would be more likely to want to just get it whenever it's released. There was an interesting article on WoW Insider that sort of where someone went and data mined some of out of the latest beta release for the Hollow's End event, and they noticed that all the gear had been upgraded to Mists of Pandaria.
I could see that. I could definitely see it like after summer. At the very earliest, it would be after summer season, so they could still push it for the holidays. So, because people start shopping really early for holidays. It's crazy. This stuff will be up in like Home Depot in like August,
Right? I know. It's so true. It gets earlier and earlier every year.
I know. It's like, stop it. I just want Halloween for a moment. God. But yeah, I think that I could see it being, it'll definitely be after the summer. I can't imagine them launching in the summer especially after just launching Diablo 3. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I agree, and I think typically too with the way they do these things is they usually have some sort of in-game transition event that they'll want to do, to sort of lead us out of Cataclysm into the next expansion, and then they also have a tendency to have that sort of pre-patch where they release all the cool stuff, like the abilities and the talents and those types of things, and they usually throw that up on their test server on their PTR. So you have to factor in them wanting to have at least a month's time frame for testing that stuff alone. So yeah, I think sometime after the summer, that September-ish, October timeframe seems like a good time for them to do it.
Yeah, that it might be. I would agree. Yes, and I see Scruffy and Bella making fun of me. I just woke up. Hi, Scruffy and Bella. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but yeah, I agree. And that's interesting I didn't know about the Hallow's End stuff being updated, so that makes perfect sense. I mean, and Halloween's a fun time too, so.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way they do that holiday. I remember way back in Vanilla when I was just leveling up my hunter, and I just happened to go and be at the questing in, what was it, Darkshire, I guess, right during the Hallow's End. Oh, I thought that was kind of cool to be in this sort of ghost, like, zone, during the Halloween. It just had a fun feel to it. I always kind of like that particular event.
Oh my God, it's my favorite of all of them. It's great. It's like, yeah, it's awesome. It's Halloween in general is my favorite.
I like putting out the fires and all that. That's always a fun event for me.
Yeah. Oh, wait, which one's it? Not Midsummer? Don't we do that?
Halloween, the Hollow's End guy.
Oh,
the
the
pumpkin
one where you
heads.
do. Yeah, you do. You can make like the little. You can make the little line. Sometimes people will like.
Oh
get all
yeah, yeah.
People get all militant. They're like, get in the line. Oh, I just want to throw. Just make the line. It's like, jeez, okay, calm down. I have my broom. Okay, I can get there quick. I want that instant broom all year.
Yeah, the instant broom is
I
great.
still
I remember
have
that.
I got the horse on 3 alts, and I love the horse, but I want the pet.
The which one? It was
I want
breaking.
the broom.
Oh yeah, the broom. I want the instant broom is what's awesome. There's no like, or do they have that anymore? Remember, it was
I
just,
think
there
they
was
do.
no.
I'm trying to think. I mean, because something that's only available to during, of course, the Hollow's End. I don't think they have a permanent broom, but yeah, I mean that was great. You just click on it or whatever, and poof.
It's so quick. There's no mounting time. It just was like boom on the broom, and it's so dope in like battlegrounds that you could just like go just ride around on that broom real quick.
Yeah. What a sad statement that is. That we're so impatient. We cannot wait 1.5 seconds.
I know, right?
For our mount to appear underneath us. But I guess in this type of game, 1.5 seconds is actually a long time.
Oh, it's so
that
long.
1.5 seconds is just long enough to think, I really hate druids. I really hate. Oh, there's my mount. Because they got the instant change.
It's like the epitome of laziness when it's like a wipe, and all mass res is down. Like it's like, oh, boo-hoo! Like the days of mass res have like painted you already. Like, it's like, oh God, your poor running finger. It is so tired from pressing that W key. Oh my God.
Well, and if you just lay there long enough, somebody will cast you a res.
Yeah, well, that's what I do.
Yeah, that, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I have to double check this, but I think they're getting rid of the mass summons in the Pandaria. I think that's going away.
No!
That have group will travel.
That would be bad. We need that.
No. That's the best feature.
It is the best feature.
Oh my God, that's one of the best things. So just somebody who's like on all day, is like already there, just ready, or has an alt there, and it's just like, boom, let's get this going. Because then it's like raiding it's not as cumbersome,
Are we gonna, the summoning stones, are they still in the game?
Or what?
Are they still useful?
Yes.
Are we gonna have to use those again?
I guess, or we have to have your warlocks but even then you still had to summon people on an individual basis. I'm not sure what the reasoning was, unless people were just still finding ways to exploit that ability. But yeah, that have group will travel was very nice.
They had that hilarious. You guys saw that troll, right, where they did the Eye of Eternity thing.
Oh, go! I think I see where you're going with this. I have an idea of what might happen, but why don't you explain it? Because I actually have not seen that.
It is amazing. Just these two dudes. It's so funny. They're in like an LFR, and it's like right after Hegra, and they. You have the 2 little portals, and you can go, or it's right before Hegra, you can go into Eye of Eternity. So they defeat the last boss, whatever it was. I think it was like the blob boss, whatever he's called. They kill him, and he's like, okay, get the loot. Okay, we don't need anything. And they Hearthstone over to Caldera. They go into Eye of Eternity over in Northrend. And they summon everybody, and it says take summon to Eye. They do have group will travel because he's right at a portal.
Right.
And they summon everybody to Malagos, but no one can tell. So everyone's just chilling, and they're like, "All right, let's start the fight." And he puts a campfire out, and he puts on like a little chef hat, and he's like running around, like no big deal. And then he presses the button, and it's Malagos, and everyone's like, "What the F?" Oh, like pissed. It's amazing. So then they have to kill a Malagos, and he's like, "You've just been trolled. Here's my YouTube station. You will all be on it."
That's awesome. That's too funny.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
That's
Oh
so
my
much
God.
better than our tanking in the chef's hat.
Yeah, I mean, we've had mages, stick down portals in front of the Eye of Eternity thing, because once you get there, it takes a little bit. It doesn't spawn right away, the portal to Eye of Eternity. So we have mages that put their portals down, and invariably one or two people click and end up in Ironforge or Theramore or someplace like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, Alliance. Yes, we get stonered. Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, and then it's no fun unless then you have that group will travel right back there at the portal, so it's no big deal. But
Right.
they took that out. That would be a super bummer.
Yeah, and someone in the chat room confirmed that it is going away, which I thought, and I'm not sure if there's been a good explanation for that, other than maybe people doing stuff like that, which is just great stuff. But it's one of those things, great quality of life thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if that made a return, because people are just so used to having it and so used to using it.
Well, I'm going to Blizzard Entertainment on Monday again, so if I run into Ghostcrawler, I'll be like, "Yo, what up? What happened? What's going on?" We'll see. I'll try to get the bottom of it, but I probably won't be able to say anything if I do.
Yeah, right. So, what's the occasion this time? Is it
Trade Chat is in town, and it's her birthday. So for her birthday, I talked to some friends of mine at Blizzard, and I'm bringing her over for a tour of Blizzard.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
That is.
So she should be super stoked.
I would say now I guess she must know, right? Or is it like can be?
Yeah, she knows. She knows now. I had to go through a bunch of channels to make sure it was all good and everything. So, but yeah, so we're all good to go to be there on Monday. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be me, her, and Nikos, her dude. So it'll be a lot of fun. We'll take pictures and we'll vlog all the way down. So everybody should check out her channel for that. We'll be on it and talking smack, on the car ride and stuff, and then taking pictures in front of the orc statue, and then that'll be it. We'll go dark and no one will know where we went. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's her birthday party tonight actually. So it's a big birthday party she's having at this arcade here in Los Angeles, and it'll be cool. There'll be Dodger from Press Heart to Continue and Husky Starcraft and Wow Coco, if you guys know who she is. She does a little makeup blog, which she's awesome chick. Her husband works at Blizzard. So there'll be a lot of the YouTube personalities, some of the people from the tester. It'll be a fun little gathering of a few people I haven't met yet. So,
oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds very cool.
Check out for pictures later. I'm sure everyone will be wasted at some arcade. I'm hoping they have Rampage there. That's all I care about. Or Gauntlet. Gauntlet would be awesome.
I actually went to Google Maps, Google Earth. I tried to find Blizzard headquarters and the orc statue just to see, if I could.
And was it there? Did you find it?
I couldn't find it.
Oh.
It's my car map, because my Prius is a 2005, so the map isn't updated. So Blizzard in that whole area, it makes me go through all these toll roads to get there, but there's a way easier way to get there. But it's just in Irvine.
And they have so their orc statues out in front. They have a pretty big building and stuff, don't they, for their things? It's somewhat. Or yeah,
it's like a little campus. I mean, it's not the orc statue is amazing. It's in the middle, and there's a lobby and a museum right when you walk in. You can still take pictures in the lobby, I believe. And then to the left, they have a little museum area, which is awesome. It has all the artwork from all the games and all their awards that they've won, and this timeline of the entire company. And it's pretty cool to go visit for sure. It's definitely a neat thing.
I asked that because I was saying back in March, I had the opportunity to go actually visit BioWare Studios down in Austin, Texas. And you talk about a building that looked like it was totally trying not to be found. I mean, it was in this little kind of sort of strip mallish parking lot. There was no real signage or anything, other than the fact that you saw some really nice cars in the parking lot. You wondered what the heck is going on here? And it definitely looked like a place that was trying not to be found. until you went inside, and then like a similar thing when you see all like especially like seeing all the game art and like these big like picture frame versions of it, you're like, oh, I want all of this.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Yeah, that is the one thing. Yeah, you do see a lot of nice cars. A lot of nice cars.
When you go, can you ask them if they have any thoughts at all about turning some of their older games into iPhone apps or something? Because I'd kind of like to play Orcs versus Humans or something like that. Or, it can't be that hard, can it?
It's really true. I mean, I have a couple of my friends, a couple of my good friends are developers over there now. That's a good question to ask, actually. I'll just ask in general, because that's such a good idea. I would love that as well, to be able to do that, just to play it on the phone or on the iPad or something. That would be actually very, very cool.
Can you imagine playing the original Diablo on the iPad or iPhone?
Yeah, that would be so much fun. It really would. I'd love to play Warcraft 3 on my iPad. That would be sweet.
Yeah. The iPad probably wouldn't be a bad platform for some of those things. I think the iPhone might be kind of tough.
Yeah, some of the tablets, because you'd have a little bit of a bigger screen. But some people, man, they're good at managing that small screen for phone for playing games. They dig it. They live on it. They love it. Love it.
Bella Sky says she's heard of people playing WoW on the iPad. I don't know how you do that. I would like to know.
There are people who have done that. I think I read, was it on Joystick I read it? There was something I read about it. Somebody was doing that kind of stuff. I don't know how they would run it, but apparently they have.
Someone's saying you could just do a screen share on the iPad, and I guess that's a way to work around it.
That's very interesting. Huh. But I wonder how the touch technology really works with it, though. I can't imagine that the touch technology would work. I see. You'd have to control your computer. Oh, okay. Fascinating. Everyone's telling us now how you do it. Like, oh, how, what? Yeah, I went to the Diablo 3 launch party down there in Irvine, too. And it was very cool because I did see Frost Times Bromance, Ghostcrawler. And I took a photo with him because I was like, he remembered me this time, and I was so happy. He was like, Michelle, nice to see you. And I was like, it's Ghostcrawler. And we took a picture, and I was like, I have to take a picture with you just for Frost. So I posted it on Twitter, and I was like, hey, Frost, you jelly? And then he commented on my Spirit Hood, of course. He was like, yeah, I want one of those. And then that was like the worst thing he could say, because then everybody jumped on it and was like, yes, now you'll have even furrier wrists.
One of the things we've started to do, because we've started posting our shows on YouTube, and I mean, there's no video or anything like that, but we just another platform for us to put our shows on, and we've been starting to give these shows titles, and I think this week's episode title is going to be Frostheim's, what did you call it? Bromance. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think we have our show title for this week, but
they'll be like, what did you guys talk about?
You're right. Oh, the listeners, feel free to offer other suggestions, but I think that's our winner for this week. Frostheim's Bromance. There you go.
As Dark writes it down. I can hear him typing it.
I did. I have my pen writing it down.
So you guys have been doing you've been struggling getting the 25 together, so you're thinking about doing 10s. And
I think when we go to the next expansion, only because we tend to progress further in 10s, it's easier to get a more solid group. But the makeup of our guild isn't designed around that. So the problem is where we might be able to have like 10 or 12 or 15 people that would be able to do 10 mans and show up on a regular basis and meet whatever criteria we want to set for doing it. They're like all hunters, you know what I mean? We have like 3 hunters that would do this. So we don't have the right composition for like 110. So we don't have the healers for a second. So that's what we need to work on.
Right.
I think it would be more beneficial to us to do 10s, because that just seems to be the direction that most people have gone in now.
Right. Yep. And yeah, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I really wish that they had a way where you could have any number of players that you wanted, and the boss. I mean, because 10 and 25 is the same as it. It's the same. The mechanics are the same no matter what, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wish that it would just fluctuate depending on how many people you had in your raid. So if you had 16 people in your raid, then the boss's health would increase by that amount, and it would still have the same mechanics. And so that way you could kind of have everyone play. And so, yeah, you might not have like the perfect composition in the world, but maybe you'd still be able to get to play and have a good shot at it. And I think it would kind of breed some interesting results.
I've heard other people mention that same thing, and I agree. Having, being able to create a boss or an encounter that could sort of scale to your group size would just be amazing. I don't know how technically feasible that is, but I think that would be a cool thing. Absolutely. So if you have 15 people, you bring 15 people. If you have 20, you bring 20, and whatever you have. I guess if they were to do that, you'd probably end up being some sort of, I guess there'd always be some sort of sweet spot where, one number is like the perfect number of, difficulty versus the number of people you have, where it's easier than the others. I don't know, but I think that would be cool if they could do that.
I think so too. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing too, which would be more likely to happen, I don't know if they'll do this, would be I would love to just see them kind of change the way they do the lockouts and just make hard modes its own separate lockout and have normal mode be its own separate lockout, the way they have looking for raid its own separate lockout. So
I completely agree with you on that. That would be awesome because it would still allow people to go through, get their points, get their badges, whatever the new badge system is going to be, get that done, or is it staying conquest? I don't know if they're going to keep it the same, but if they kept it like that and they just allowed you to go do your raid, and then if you wanted to have a group that did hardcore mode, so a lot of times with the 210-mans, doing 210-mans, it's different than doing 25s. Some people don't want they don't want to put as much time and effort into it, and that's kind of I think where LFR sort of I have mixed feelings about LFR.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like LFR was really, really great because it allowed people to see what else they could do in the game that they thought maybe was part of a special club that they couldn't get into, right? Because they weren't good enough, and some servers are really hard on people, and you don't have the skills right away when you walk into a raid. Like when I first walked into a raid, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Right? It was like, wait, what? Eat this food, do what? Okay, all right, okay, I have it done. Okay, stop yelling at me. People to prepare for it. I think LFR is sort of like a really rough and tumble crash course in like learning how to do things. But at the same time, I think that the gear is so similar in many ways to normal rating, like the gear level of it. It was very close. That if people weren't looking to really do hardcore modes, if they weren't really looking to do, I think we're calling it hardcore modes, like if they weren't looking to do heroics, like they weren't looking to do it that way, they'd just be satisfied with the gear they got, and they weren't as interested in doing their normal guild rating, to be honest, because they'd already had their fix. They got it on the time frame that they needed to. It fit into whatever schedule they have in their own lives, which is fantastic. But at the same time, the gear level didn't have enough of a gap between it to really want people who were like, I have to have that gear. I want to raid. I want to be able to do that. Their fix was already gotten with LFR, I feel like. So little more of a gap, I think, in that gear level.
I agree. In fact, there were some items that you could get out of LFR that were actually better than what you got out of normal modes. When you looked at the weapons off of Deathwing and some of those trinkets, they were better than what you could get out of similar items in normal mode. So you wanted to go to LFR to get like one or two pieces out of there. But the problem with it is it was just too easy, especially if you were like a veteran raider, even if you didn't do the heroics that often. You could pretty much ignore all of the mechanics and things. There was no real risk. You could be a completely disorganized group, which was the design, that 25 random people could come together and see the content and get a few pieces of gear and move on.
Yeah, totally. I mean, And I think people were just kind of resigned to the fact, like, I'm never going to get that staff from Deathwing, or I'm never going to get that trinket. So, like, screw it. I'm not going to keep raiding. And I feel like that's kind of been a little bit of the general. Some of the people have just been, why keep going to this weekly thing that I already got almost the equivalent of it anyway. I don't need to completely get the, 5 point more or whatever it was, increase, or 28 more agility or whatever. Like, they just don't care. They're just like, whatever, I got what I needed.
Yeah, but I mean, for our guild, if the heroics were on a separate lockout, then we could still continue to do our 25-man normal modes, and the guys that do the heroics could bring like their best characters and their best geared characters, the ones that wanted to, and do the 25-man raid and help some of the people that aren't interested in progression but just want to kind of go and do the content with the guild and have there be somewhat of a challenge, and then those guys could then go on and continue on later in the week and run a 10-man and do heroics and not feel like they were missing out on anything. So I don't know what Blizzard's intention is, if they'll revisit that or make any changes, but I would love to see heroics be its own separate deal from normal and looking for raid. I think the game is ready for that. I think it's time for that. But I know you said you haven't played too much of the beta, but what do you think about some of the hunter changes? What are you most looking forward to?
For hunter changes?
Yeah, I mean, they've added like any abilities or anything that you're most looking forward to. Like, oh gosh, this is great! Can't wait for Mist because hunters will be able to do this now. Like, minimum range going away and things like that.
Yeah, bottom line for me, no minimum range. That's just bottom line. That is the everything else stamped. All the other things, great, whatever. I'm excited to see them all, but like to have no minimum range in PvP, I am so happy for. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I wish they had an ability if we had minimum range, there was I don't know if there is one. If there's some kind of a shot, like an explosive, the explosive shot would actually like blast somebody back from you.
There is. We are getting a knockback.
Awesome.
It's funny you should say that. There's a glyph of explosive trap. So basically, when you put down your explosive trap, instead of doing damage, it'll do a knockback on the guys running towards you. So your prayers have been answered in that regard. So no minimum range, and you can send people flying. Yeah,
that's what I want. That's definitely what I want. And what's going on with the stable system? I'm like, am I going to be able to like have all of more than just what I have already? Because I want more pets.
No, they haven't said anything about that. And right now, it's still at 25. Only they've added a bunch of new pets. So it's just it makes you want to cry even more because there are new pets, there are new pet families, new skins and things like that. But they haven't given us new stable slots. And you still have to go to find a stable master to swap pets in and out, other than the 5 that you carry around. So that it seems to be 100% the way it is now. So,
yeah.
Which is, I would like to see more stable slots. I remember when they announced, we went from like just 5 pets altogether to 25, and it seemed like a great thing. But then they added all these new cool pets, and within like minutes of them, saying, hey, you get 25 stable slots, you realize that it wasn't going to be enough, even though it was 5 times more than what we had previously had.
Right. Well, the porcupine sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it is. There's the porcupine, there's these silkworms, which look kind of cool. There's the new cat skins, these exotic pets called the quillin, which look like little stone lions. I mean, there's just a bunch of things. Cranes are another one that, look interesting. So there's enough there that, you would think maybe 5 more slots at least would be good.
Oh, yeah. Scruffy brings up a good point, the glyph of being able to access my stable from anywhere. Remember, they had that for a little while when they first allowed us to have pets that we could summon. Remember, because you used to be able to just have the one, and you'd have to go back to the stable to get your pet and go back out. And there was no, like the summoning and all this stuff. And there was, God, we had to walk 20 miles in the snow back then, like just forever. But I liked that there was this ability once we had 5 slots there that we could actually stable call, and it was on a cooldown. So I believe if I'm right,
you're right.
there was a cooldown, and and that was awesome. There'd be a cooldown, and you could get your pet whatever. I think that would be great to have for raids, and I wish that there was a little bit more of a selection too. Sometimes, like at raids, like 5. I don't know. I always seem to have 5 because I have like 2 PvP pets on me, and I'll have like a slot maybe open in case I want to tame something, and like 2 slots for regular pets that I use in PvE, like one for soloing and one for like my wolf for raids. So I don't know. I wish that there was a couple more slots, if or just a stable call that maybe was like an hour cooldown or something.
Yeah, I think that would be, I think you hit the nail on the head there. That would be a great ability to have, especially for raids and things like that, or just any place without having to go find a stable master someplace.
That's actually a really good idea that Mullingrew came up with, having that available on Jeeves, which is kind of neat. That would add a cool ability for engineers, and it would make a lot of hunters do engineering, especially on Alliance side. I've noticed more so.
Yeah, there you go, Jeeves or the portable stable master.
Yeah, that would be a really cool engineering ability. I mean, if they didn't want to give it to us as a cooldown, having it be part of the professions, and that would be another thing to kick people in the pants to go make sure they're maxed out professions. I mean, my guild, they are, just because everyone's like super completist in my guild. But I know sometimes we get applicants and they're like level 85. They're like, dude, I'm ready to raid. I've got blah, blah, gear, blah, blah, blah. And then I look and I'm like, dude, your profession's at like 194. Like, come on, seriously? Like, shut up. You just went to LFR and got some gear, and you're not even doing anything. You're going to just try to just have us carry you. No.
Well, one of the things I'm looking forward to with pets too, I love the fact that you're going to be able to choose, kind of what role they play between like cunning, ferocity, and tenacity. And I think that's a great feat. That was something I had wanted for a long time.
You cut out right there. I didn't hear you.
Oh, I was saying one of the great things that they're adding with the pets is you'll be able to choose kind of what role they play, whether it's a tenacity, ferocity, or cunning.
Right.
So, and I like that. That's something I had wanted to do because that I think you'll see a lot more variety of pets now than you would otherwise, because people will be able to choose the ones they actually like the best and then make them be their DPS or PvP or tanking or whatever they want them to be.
I think it's hard for classes like hunters where we're solely DPS, like that's our deal, like and I mean I play marks and survival. Marks for PvP. I just prefer it. I like it. I know a lot of people do BM. I would love to have my soloing spec be Beast Mastery, and to change all that out every time. And the other thing too is like you're out in the world and you find a rare and you're like, crap, what am I going to do? See, I caught myself. I was going to say that, other word, but I said crap. So you see something you want to tame, and you have to like, summon a friend out there and then have them like kite it around, and you go switch out your spec really quick. Like, it's crazy. I wish we could have for hunters, like for pure DPS specs, I wish we could have 3 specs.
Yeah, we sort of talked about that on other shows and things like that, especially with Beastmaster, because that's like the one spec that's probably, is the most complete in that it gives you access to all the different kind of pets and things in the game. And it's the one where it almost doesn't make sense not to have that be one of your specs. If you want to have the most complete sort of toolbox at your disposal, then that's the spec you have to be.
Or maybe they have it be a thing where like, I don't know, then that kind of takes away a lot from Beast Mastery. I don't know, I feel like Spirit Beast, it sucks that it's only limited to 1 spec in some ways, because even if the beast didn't have the abilities, like maybe I see a spirit beast out in the wild, maybe I can't use its special ability if I'm raiding unless I'm in BM spec. Then I could still use it if I wanted.
Well, that's an interesting idea. I don't know that it would come to that, but yeah. I mean, that's
I
the thing.
doubt it.
It's
I
just
doubt it would. I doubt it would. I'm just wishful thinking because I hate having to go back and respect the DM every time, and I'm being lazy.
There's a lot of things that never would have happened in World of Warcraft that now we have or will very soon.
Well, it's another smart thing that Blizzard does, in my opinion. I mean, I just respect them as a company when I look at how successful they are, like, business minded wise. Like, I think they're so smart the way they've rolled things out. I mean, there's this way where we want things that keep us wanting something. And then when we want something, we get something when we want something else. And they do it, they roll it out. They don't give it to us all at once. And they have the community built. It's kind of like, I think of it like when there's other MMOs that try to come and take over. It's like when Google Plus was trying to be like, oh, we're the new Facebook. It's like, really? No, the community is already, nobody wants to go rebuild everything over on a new game. I don't think the only thing that's going to kill World of Warcraft is another game that they make that adds onto it or is something like it. I mean, it's hard to do. So, I forgot what my original point was because I'm still so tired, but there was something in there.
Blizzard is awesome.
Oh, yeah, like the way that they've rolled it out, I just think it's very smart. Like the way that other companies, they'll give you everything all at once because they just want to keep you as their subscriber, and there's a kind of desperateness in that. And I don't know, Blizzard kind of has a thing where they're like, they're not desperate at all. They're just like, we'll roll it out when we want. And, we'll appease our player base, in a rollout time. And they're very good at that.
well, it's interesting that you should say that because like I said, in addition to playing World of Warcraft, I do play the Old Republic, and it's interesting to see all the they didn't come roll it out with all the features that World of Warcraft had, and when they didn't, that's all people seem to be screaming for. They're like, hey, where's the guild bank? Where's the group finder? Where's this? Where's that? WoW has this. Why don't you have this? And there's a lot of things that they've done over time and added to World of Warcraft that a lot of people now feel like they should be standard fare in this type of MMO. And when they're not there, they're like, oh, we need to have them. And it puts a lot of pressure on those companies to try and build those things and get them in there either on release or shortly thereafter. And they spend a lot of time on that rather than perhaps developing their own content that would be unique to their game.
I mean, even with add-ons, like you look at the add-on industry where, all these people are making add-ons for World of Warcraft, which is smart because they were able to really see kind of a lot of ideas people are building on their stuff. They know they enter into an agreement knowing that, they're allowing them to use their intellectual property. So they've built a lot of things into the game to make it that we don't have to use all those add-ons that are slowing down our computers. And I think they've done a really good job with that too. I mean, there's still obviously add-ons that I love that I don't want, like Recount and Omen, and there's stuff like that I just need, or Deadly Boss Mobs or something like that I need to raid. I have to have those, or NPC scan, or there's stuff that I love to use that are add-ons, but I think they've did a good job in integrating a lot of that into the game. I remember from like BC, some of the crazy add-ons I had, and they modified it a lot in Cataclysm and in Lich King.
Yeah, they really did. I remember as each expansion has sort of come out, the number of add-ons that I've been able to kind of remove from my inventory has been, substantial, because they built enough of that into the standard UI that I haven't needed an add-on to track things other than some of those things that you mentioned, like the recounts and the omens. And I think I have one for my bag inventory.
Exactly. I'm kind of surprised, actually, they haven't come up with a new inventory system, to be honest. Like, that's probably a big undertaking, but that bag system is ridiculous.
It's awful, especially if you go into like the beta where they don't have the add-ons enabled. And I don't know that they've enabled them yet in this, but and you're back to the default UI, and you just certain things you're just like, oh god, I can't stand this. And the inventory is one you put, it opens up all these little windows with all your little bags, and the stuff is just scattered all over the place. It's just crazy.
I have my bag. I know a lot of people use that Bagnan one. I use this one called Teabag because I thought the name was funny, and it's actually awesome. It is such a great bag system. I can't live without that one either.
Yeah, I use Arc Inventory. That's the one I've used. I've been using that
Oh
for
yeah.
quite some time now, and I like that one. And I don't know how others work, but that one allows you to at least set up your own custom categories and group things and put them all in certain slots. And it's made organizing my stuff very, very easy. I've been getting very used to that. And like I said, it's painful not to have. That's one of those ones where it's really just painful not to have
That's
that.
something too, is that, just to put out there to people, like a lot of those add-ons are free and these people make them for us. They do this and they're not getting paid for it. They don't make money for it. So it's like sometimes like it is nice if you have a couple extra bucks to donate back to those guys that are and girls that are making some of those add-ons that we can't live without. I think that, they really deserve a good high five for, or $5.
A high $5, yeah.
A high $5, to continue doing that. I mean, I assume they're doing it on their free time, and I know they're not making money, so.
Oh yeah, that's completely volunteer. People just, that's, just a hobby of theirs, and they're definitely not getting paid for it. They're not commissioned. It's just things that they volunteer their own time to do because they feel there's a need for it. They want to do it, but like I said, it's just just people coming up with ideas and doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really great ones. There's a transmog one that I have right now. That's pretty cool. You can look through all the different kinds of gears and put together a set. I have a little. I think I've screwed it up now. I need to reforge or remog or whatever. But I had like a whole Dark Ranger set, so it looked like my character was kind of Dark Ranger-ish. It was very cool. Somebody actually in the Warcraft Hunters Union pointed it out to me. It was very neat.
Which add-on do you use for that?
I can tell you in a second. I'll pull up my curse and let you know. It's very cool. But they had like different hunter sets that you could it's downloading an update, of course. They had different hunter sets that you could look for and do, and I really like the way they have it. Hold on, I'll tell you. It is called, sure it has Mog in the name, I'm gonna guess. Mogit. Mogit. It's dope. I highly suggest it.
That is cool. See, that's the nice thing about that whole transmogrification. That's really opened up a whole industry of things for people to do, and it's amazing what people have come up with in terms of discovering sets. And I've been very impressed with what the community has come up with and been able to do with this feature and the different outfits and things they've discovered for various classes and things. It's very cool. I don't transmog hardly anything. Usually just my weapons and the headgear. That's all I've done so far.
Oh, all you've transmogged your guns?
Yeah, the bows into guns, and then I think the headpiece into goggles. I like the engineering goggles.
Bows into guns. You're such a dwarf. What are you, Alliance? You're Alliance.
Alliance dwarf, of course.
Of course. See, I was a blood elf that became undead, and I have to use a bow. That's my deal. I have to. Sylvanas uses a longbow. But I'm not, oh man, whenever I get guns, I'm so bummed. It's like the opposite. I'll just trade you. But I do collect them, and I wish Void Storage, to be honest, was also a little larger because I collect every bow I've ever gotten in the game, or every gun, every weapon. So I keep them in like a little order, and I love it. And I just keep them in there. Or a tabard closet. God, those tabards take up so much room. Can we just have a closet for them, like only for tabards? Like you just go in your little tabard closet and pick which one you want to wear?
I like that idea. People have asked for stuff like that. I think, unfortunately, now with the void storage, I think they won't bother to do anything other than, well, here's more void storage for you. Which costs money, I guess, to put things in and out. But
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, it could just be like an achievement, and it's just a list, and you just check off the list.
But there's all sorts of gear and stuff like that you tend to collect. And now that you can transmog, I know I'll be less likely to vendor that stuff and get rid of it just because you never know when the mood strikes and I want to go back to using one of these sets for whatever reason. So how are things going with you? Like, what's going on? Anything exciting? I know you're going to Blizzard and things, but with your career and stuff like that, anything exciting coming on the horizon?
Things have been going really well. I have 2 web series that I'm doing. One I talked about before, but it's actually like picking up and going really well as far as on the sales front. So it's called Pen Paper Laser Guns. It's awesome. Yeah, it's very cool. I play like kind of a very A-type personality who's a healer in the game. So it's a very fun concept. And the second one's more of like a monster hunter kind of thing. Kind of like, it reminds me in some ways of Supernatural, but different. It has elements of like Alien and Buffy and some cool sort of sci-fi and horror moments, which I'm really into. Our Foam Weapon League paperwork is all finished and signed, so we should be getting going on the creative production part of it now that it took that long to get moving. But I'm very excited because we just finished all of that, all the paperwork, so it's done now legally. And so that's all very exciting. And then obviously I'm still writing the Hello Giggles article, which is my weekly gaming article every week.
Where can people find that?
It's hellogiggles.com. The site is owned by Zoe Deschanel, if people know who she is. She's an actress. She's on that show New Girl on Fox, but she's done a ton of movies. She's in one of my favorite movies, Almost Famous. So she's awesome. She's a cool chick. I haven't met her personally, but I met all the people kind of around it. So I'm their gaming columnist. And because of that, I started to get a bunch of free games in the mail. So I started doing a YouTube station because a lot of them I can't cover on Hello Giggles because they're a little more like Witcher 2. When I talked about Witcher 2, I can't talk about Witcher 2 on Hello Giggles because The Witcher just goes around and just bangs girls all the time, and like really like salacious sex scenes too. Like they're like you're watching it going like, what? Like, am I watching this? This is like full on like porn. Like what's happening? So I can't put stuff like that on there. So I made a little YouTube station just kind of as a test. And from doing that, there was a company called Bite Size TV. They're taking over another company called Mevio.com, and they're turning it into a whole new thing with new hosts and kind of like making it an online spot with all hosts. So I'd be their gaming host. So I just did a bunch of test pilots with them, and next week they're sending a broadcast crew with me to E3. So I'll be doing live coverage from there and live tweeting and all of that. So if you guys do Twitter, I'm at Michele Morrow. Michelle's with 1 L. And things picked up a lot, like like just crazy. Like this woman wrote me about doing an interview with Morgan Webb, and I was just so stoked to be able to do that. So hopefully that article will post next week.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad. So it sounds like you are busier than all get out. I'm surprised you have any time to A, play the game, and B, join us here on the podcast. So we're very excited.
I have today was my first day of sleeping in. So I was just waking up when you guys called. So I was in the bathroom and my boyfriend was like, Alessandra's calling? And I thought if somebody got a hold of my phone and saw the names in my phone, they'd be like, who the hell is this girl? Like, who is Tiki and Jatmu and Xanthia and like all of the, Makamai and Zudok and Slow Fuse? Like, what are these names, on top of the Foam Weapon League character names? It's like Prince Harming and Hardcore and, these crazy names. No one should get a hold of my phone. Like Frostheim, who's that? Like, so yeah. but yeah, so things have been crazy busy in the last few weeks. And then I went to Lightning in a Bottle. I became a brand ambassador for Spirit Hoods, which is awesome. And I went with them as they hired me to be their brand ambassador for this event called Lightning in a Bottle. And one of the people from my army, from my Sylvanas page on Facebook, came to the booth and said hi, and we took a picture. Her name's Catherine, so it was really cool that she came and stopped by. And yeah, I had a great time. Spirit Hoods has been really fun to kind of represent. So I've been having a good time with them. And there's a code I have too now, you guys. So if you want one, you can get 15% off of one. So yeah, I think they should make a honey badger one. That's what I think. I'd wear a honey badger one and rock that all over the place. So that's pretty much, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's terrific. So,
have you guys been good?
We have been good. Things, we're plugging away on the show. I don't know what happened to everyone this week, but I was glad you were able to available and we were able to rouse you out of bed and bring you onto the show.
You guys summoned me. I was like, all right, let's do this. I told Allie, just call me, man. Just get me up, because usually Saturdays are pretty chill for me.
Yeah, well, we love having you on.
I took you at your word.
Yeah, call me whenever. It's all good. So whenever. Whenever you guys want. I miss you guys. I love the Hunting Party podcast. Who doesn't love the Hunting Party podcast? I'm glad you guys are starting to do YouTube stuff. I think we should do video stuff at one point, like make a big video thing, like do one of a special episode, like the way we did the 100 one. Like do something where it's all video, where we can all people can see each other. I think the fans would love to see Euripides and Frostheim, just go at it the way they do.
I guess we could consider that. Well, we are inching our way towards episode 150 here, so maybe that would be the time to do it. And we are looking at other platforms with which to do the podcast besides Ustream, just because Ustream, I think, has sort of run its course for us. And they keep throwing in ads in there, so we might have to look at some other sites, maybe like Twitch TV or...
Yeah, Twitch. I was going to say Twitch is pretty awesome. So, that's something that would be really cool. I know Game Breaker does it on that, where you can see their faces and stuff. It would be
I've seen that. How they get their guests on there and they all have their cameras and they kind of do that split screen and what have you.
Yeah, I did that even with Trade Chat when we did our girl on girl interview. She does all of her girl on girl split screen. That would be awesome. I think seeing you guys is the next level for sure. I think people really want to see you guys, right, guys?
No, they don't.
Do you guys want to close it up here? Because I know you both said you couldn't stay.
I do have to get rolling here, and I'm sure Michelle has got stuff to do or wants to go back to bed and continue sleeping in. Who knows?
My boyfriend just bought me coffee and
coffee
for the park and just chill out and not do anything today is what sounds awesome to me.
That is awesome. It sounds fantastic. So, Allie, why don't you be Euripides and Frostheim today, or Michelle could be one. It doesn't matter. Take us home.
I will be everybody. You have been listening to episode 132 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm not Darkbrew, I'm not Euripides, not Frostheim, and I'm Molly Sonder from the Hunting Party Podcast and the Torlore Podcast. Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, at our RSS feed to your reader links. Links are available in the show notes. Also, if you like us, please don't be shy about leaving us a review on iTunes. You're really going to let me do this, Darkbrew?
Go right. I'm not stopping you.
If you like us, please don't be shy about leaving us a review on iTunes or YouTube or on Stitcher, especially one where you mention all the good things Michelle's going to figure out tomorrow at Blizzard.
That I won't be able to talk about.
This we won't be able to talk about.
I know they do make you sign your life away, don't they?
They do, yes. And they implant a chip in your head and it all explodes later and you have no idea what happened. Your memory was erased.
You can submit a title for this week's show by emailing us at huntingpartypodcast@gmail.com and have your name mangled on the air next week.
Stay thirsty, my friends, and remember to drink your Darkbrew lager.
Remember to spay and neuter your feral druid.
Honey Badger don't care.
And don't forget to pay your dues.
I can jump shot, BM, MM, and SB. I can rock out any tree. Never worried about my threat, 'cause I've got FD and misdirect. Catching loose mobs in my traps. I never miss, 'cause I am hip capped. 'Cause I'm the hunter, not the marked. I'm the fighter, not the spark. I'm the kiter, not the kite. I'll top a meter Now let's begin with Illidan, Osirian, and Gil'jadan, Magdamar, Asgalor, Gruul, Cthulhu, and Razorgore, Onyxia to Ragnaros. Which one have we killed the most? Kel'Thuzad to Malygos. We even killed Akama's ghost. Feels like we're getting close, all that running as it goes. Yogg-Saron, Therian, Sartharian, Nyxeridon, Saphiron, Luciferon to Sulfuron,